What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? This is SJG, and you are watching the D2 Football Show on HBCU Game Day, and it is Championship Week, and it's
Woo!
time to talk playoffs.
Playoffs.
And we'll even get into a little bit of transfer portal. Some of them players, some of them
Mm.
coaches. Folks are getting gone around here, and we're going to talk about it all here. So before we get into that, I want to make sure everybody goes ahead and hits that like button. And if you are listening to us on the podcast a little bit later, because for some strange reason you might have gotten too excited watching us, then hey, it's all good. Hit that button, and we will go from there. Chris, man, it seems just like yesterday that you and I were getting together for episode 1, and week 0, and now, Chris, now most people are no longer playing. Now it's only the few, the survival of the fittest, and I guess Tuskegee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a little bit more than just them. I mean, got the SIAC drama going on right now.
With so much drama in the SIAC, it's kind of hard being SJG, but somehow, some way. All right, keep coming up. We're gonna go to CIAA. All right, so the freestyles are over. That's all you're gonna get for free. Let us start with the game of the week for Division Two. This was a high stakes game down on Beatties Ford Road, the infamous one-sided stadium there. Irwin Belk, if you would, with the beautiful view of uptown Charlotte. Livingstone College came in looking to, continue what they continued last year with the win over Johnson C. Smith, who was looking to get to their first CIAA championship since folks were recording things on microfilm. Yeah, Chris, I'm guessing you were watching this game pretty closely.
Yeah.
Livingstone had that lead early. Oh man, ooh, I was ready. For my Smith be Smithin, but they did not. They did not Smith. They did not. Next thing you know, the
Mhm.
next thing you know, the stream went out, and
Yep.
Johnson C. Smith comes up with a win. Anyway, Chris, take it away with your thoughts on this.
Well, yeah. I mean, Livingstone got out to a bit of a lead, and a lot of that had to do with some busted coverage. Gave Davin Reed, the wide receiver for Livingstone, who had a career day, the opportunity to go down the sideline for some scores, and you just like, man, like the one thing about Livingstone is in a game like that, you just know that they're gonna be playing, to their potential and higher, and that's exactly what you saw. It was really um, the second straight week that JCSU had to have some fourth quarter heroics, and you kind of saw that with Kelvin Durham getting the ball to Biggie Proctor to take the lead. But for much of the game, we're just kind of wondering, like, okay, so are we just playing just to play close for a little while and kind of just give some false hope here, or what's the deal? Um, one thing Livingstone did really well was that they gave a lot of pressure on Kelvin Durham in that game. But in the end, the Blue Bears could not rekindle the magic that we know happens when they're in Salisbury, and didn't take it on the road. And JCSU took this game.
Yeah, so Johnson C. Smith completes the regular season 9-1, and which is so graciously chronicled by our Wally Pitt on the series Brick by Brick. So go check that out. I think a new episode is dropping soon. So he'll be taking his show on the road to Durham. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but let's get to some of the other scores around Division II football. And of course, guys, if you haven't already, please make sure that you go back and check the SIC sit down with Sly and Jamie. They do an amazing job. They broke down literally everything there. For sure, make sure you guys check that out. But let us let us take a gander at some of the other things that happened last week. We'll start off with B to A to SZA. All right, so we had Shaw. Henry and Henry pounded them for 55 points. I believe this is the third time this year, at least 3 times that I can remember that they got 50 put up on them. Although I heard a coach say that it's hard to blow teams out when they were getting ready to play this game, and he did not blow them out. Emory Henry, straight up. Then we had Allen. We talk about. It seems like yesterday. That all these folks, our friends over in the SIAC, were yapping about this and yapping about that, about Edward Waters this and why is Virginia Union over Edward Waters beat them, blah, 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 blah. Edward Waters, after a sizzling 4-1 start, finishes the season middle of the road, 5 and 5.
Yeah.
Maybe the surprise B to A of the week, Kristen. We can talk about this one. ECSU, Adrian Jones and company. They found themselves against the typically generous defense of Bluefield State, and they just got damn greedy. 70 points. Man, talk about that, Chris. What you saw from that?
Well, I mean, so Elizabeth City, they had 3-game winning streak to end the season, and actually finished with an above 500 record in conference. And a lot of that had to do with, they actually put up 62 against Lincoln, 2 games prior. So we know they could do it. But I think they did it in a little bit of a different way. Bluefield struggled against the run, and they've been struggling against the run all year. And this just feels like it just capped and highlighted the worst of the worst when it came to the run game. Yeah, you gave up 369 yards to Curtis Allen 1 week, and then you turn around and you give up 5 touchdowns to Traquan Johnson, who finally, had a breakout game. Was looking for that a little bit more of that early in the season, but ECSU kind of really got a lot of momentum going into the offseason. And you're right. I mean, this wasn't close from the beginning. I think it was like 28-0 or turning in like 35-7, I believe, something like that. I mean, it was just ugly. And I just want to highlight ECSU won 3 straight homecomings. They, we heard about what happened last week against Bowie. The unthinkable happened. And then Lincoln's homecoming. So, I mean, 3 straight homecomings that they won, 2 they crashed, and 1 that they partied to end the season. So, kudos to Adrian Jones and company going into the offseason.
Yeah, man. I mean, an impressive year by them in a lot of ways when you consider that they had to start over fresh. We saw early in the season where they almost knocked off Hampton. They almost knocked off Johnson C. Smith. And then later in the year, when they got in the softer North, Old North,
Charmin.
Baby cakes. They were able to gather up some strength. So come on, man. Come on now. Come on.
These are just the facts. These are the facts.
The facts. Nothing but the facts. All right. How you like that, Jack? All right. Let's see. All right. So shout out to Kobe who was throwing a fit back there because I said something about the Old North. Trust me, there's no love for the South either. There's only one team that I love. The rest of them, they can all lose. Anyway, let's go to and then also Kentucky State 55 shellacking of Lane. Poor winless, helpless, defenseless Lane. The fireless dragons of Lane College. My goodness. My God, today. And then Albany State, they did what we come to expect Albany State to do. They went Gulf Coast offense on Fort Valley State 48-3. So there was there was a lot of that going on this week. All right, now let's get over to our other favorite segment. Everybody knows.
Almost doesn't count.
There you go. Make the music with me. Make the music with me. Yes. Yeah. There we go. So, man. Let us look at these close games over in the SIC. There were some close games. Actually, you had Tuskegee outlasting Miles. So a big win, a good win for Tuskegee. Not in the year because they still play in the Turkey Day Classic, but to end the SIC season. I know the coach Aaron James. There's been whispers about him being on the hot seat. We've already had some coaches let go. They've still got another game to go. It's going to be interesting. Benedict, man. They're going to be in a championship game this week, but they were in a cat fight. Let me say that correctly. It was the Benedict Tigers versus the Savannah State Tigers, and the Tigers of Columbia, South Carolina triumphed, I'm guessing maybe by kicking an oblong pigskin through I don't know, but I had to use the Coming to America, greatest movie of all time. They win 16-13 to clinch their spot in the title. And Kentucky State, despite a straight up dominance of Lane College, they will not be in the SIC championship game. But there are games to play, and we will get to that in just a second. But before we do, again, I want to ask everybody who is watching, wherever you're watching, drop us a comment. Let us know if your team is done. Give us a grade on what you think your team's grade should be. Let's see. Now, so the season's over for most of the teams, and folks are, of course, jumping in the portal. Chris, in the last couple of days, we've seen a number of folks from the CIAA specifically jump in the portal, some superstar guys. I know the young man that we talked about from Livingstone, Kenyon
Garner.
Yeah. Big time talent on the defensive line. I know he's in the portal. I know the big kid, Chris is his name. The guy who does the swan dives in. Yeah, he's in the portal today too, man. I mean, Livingstone, man, they do a really good job of recruiting, but retention is always seems to always be the issue for them. You think about Deloach and some of the other guys. They had the guy who went to Kentucky and then came back. So, tough for them. And then Bowie State as well had a defensive back that's also getting some big time Power 5 looks as well. So, Chris, we've seen this more and more in these last couple of years in the advent of the transfer portal year to year, where we've had these CIAA guys who, they're either just, athletic freaks or just super productive. They get to these CIAA schools, they stay for maybe a year or two, and then the secret is out. And it seems like, we talked with Dr. Alvin Parker earlier in the year about Virginia Union and those guys getting rated. They've had a lot of success, but, what are your thoughts on this? And just, as a guy who, really pounds the table for the CIAA, what are your thoughts on it? How you feel? How are you processing, Chris?
Well, in this era, all you could do is wish them well. Folks go into the portal and they try their luck to see if they can stick. VUU was that team last year that lost a lot of talent. Livingstone is one that, has a lot of churn. And, shout out to the coaches, right? Because, man, they have been able to identify talent year in and year out. Is and they, they've developed folks as they can. It would be nice if they can have some stability where you can kind of see what could a Livingstone do. 2-3 years, and it's a senior led team, and those teams seem to push a lot harder, but they just can't quite get there, and so it is a bit of a challenge for them. So yeah, I mean, to Kenyon Garner, and it's like good luck and see where he turns out, and you can wish him the best, and if it doesn't work, he probably could come back. That's what Kevin Larkins did, the DB. So yeah, it's more that's going to happen. It is what it is. I just saw that Catrez Bracey, the wide receiver in Elizabeth City, had a couple of good games. He's in the portal now. I actually have just retained some thoughts about the portal in general, because some schools are just not set up to retain guys when they get to that graduate level. They do graduate. A lot of these guys, they do graduate, and they may have a year left. And if the school doesn't have a graduate program, then they're going to go looking elsewhere. And so, it's really incumbent upon administrators that want to invest in football. They also need to invest in academics, and especially the graduate programs, because there's a lot you can do with that from an athletic standpoint, and that's one way to go about it. So those are my general thoughts about the transfer portal, and it giveth and it taketh away.
Yeah, doing a lot more taking for the D2s, but hey, it is what it is. And we talked about the transfer portal for the players. Well, the other side of that is for the coaches. So we've had one coaching change that has been announced so far. I believe Chris, just one.
Yep,
just one. So Robert Massey's tenure at Winston-Salem State University has come to an end. Massey, who previously coached at Livingstone College and Shaw University, was named interim back in 2019 after the transition of Keenis Boulware. He maintained the interim status through 2021. Another, a 7 and I think he had a 7-12 record, and was able to get a 4-year deal. He has 4 years, one winning season in those 6 years at WSSU, and 6 losses in the other 5. Chris, this is obviously something that we've both been keeping an eye on. We both WSSU alumni, we both hear the chatter, we hear the groans and everything like that. People have been definitely making it seem like I had too much to do with this, but anyway,
It was you, Stephen. It was you.
I'll be the guy. It was me. I caused those fourth quarter collapses, second half collapses. But yeah, I just got off the WSSU. Well, first I do want to say again, Robert Massey, really great guy. A lot of people advocated for him. He did face a lot of challenges early on in his tenure with the amount of scholarships that they had at the time. Although we have seen a lot of folks do a lot with less. There was some deficiencies there. But these last couple of years, the program has steadied in terms of funding. And just got off the call earlier. They had 32 scholarships this year. The max is 36, so pretty close to that. I know that there are some teams that are playing in championship game this weekend that did not have 20. So the scholarships, they matter, but then it's only a piece of it. I did hear that they are going to be. I did hear that they're going to be trying to move fast, which you have to do now, Chris, right? With the transfer portal and with everything that's going on. They did say that they're going to be looking to make the hire by the first week of December. And at the Division two, it makes sense. I've been saying it quite frequently on my other YouTube channel. With the way that we're talking about the transfer portal, I mean, in WSSU, despite the four wins, they have a lot of talent that's still eligible to come back. Dalen Lee, the quarterback, a lot of his wide receivers, some running backs as well. And so it's going to be, they're going to have options. Some of them are probably going to test the waters as well. Sure, other CIAA teams would love to have them, as well as some D1s as well. So, I got a sense that the leadership there, Chancellor Benita Brown, because they're also looking for an AD as well. I got the sense that, she understands the landscape. She understands the moment. She kind of came in and, the folks that were in the leadership at athletics, the AD as well as the head coach, were already there. They had like a year and a half left on their contracts. So she kind of let those things play out the way that they would. But she's kind of grabbed the ram by the horns. And, personally, I'm glad that they're talking about having a hire that quickly because, the Board of Trustees meeting is there. Get somebody in here, get the right person in here, but get them in here and, give them a chance to be successful. Gone are the days where you're going to get a job. I mean, I'm trying to think, man, we've had coaches get jobs, in during spring ball in D2, in the D2 situation. So glad that that's going on. Your thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I enjoy talking to Coach Massey, and he did a lot of good things at the school. He had some. I think to me, like when I watch coaches and I think about the position that they played, whether it's professional or college, those are typically the positions that tend to excel. And you saw that, especially with the defensive backfield. And a lot of great players that he coached as a position coach or as a head coach was responsible for. You think about folks like Justin Fleming, and so, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, there's always been some hole, and it seems like, man, the defensive line has just been a bit of a struggle, and it gave up a lot of points a lot of yards this year. The way Fayetteville State ran all over them was just really disheartening if you're a Winston State fan. And also, I, the offense was, it was kind of a boom or bust. When they were on, I mean, they were almost unstoppable. But when they went flat, I mean, they're flatter than a coat that's been open for several days. I mean, what are you going to do with it? And I think you saw that at so many different times. And so the word to me of the season, the way to describe the season is inconsistent. That's what you got, and that starts with the man at the top, and unfortunately, Coach Massey had to take the fall there. So it'd just be interesting to see what where the Rams go from here. They really need that shot in the arm. I feel like Winston has gone through phases where they were like a bunch of A&T folks were in the leadership positions. Then you had a bunch of central folks that were in the leadership positions. So, now do you finally try to go the route of, what other schools in the CIAA have done and go with one of your own? You got, Coach Parker is at his alma mater. Coach Flowers is at his alma mater. So that really, really, truly stands out to me. Coach Kyle at Bowie State's at his alma mater. I mean, so it's not unheard of. So yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see how this plays out. You hope that you can still retain quite a bit of the roster too at the same time. I mean, that's a rather experienced roster in a lot of ways. But yeah, really interesting.
Yes, it is a Ram new day. All right, so let's move on, and we will talk about some folks who are still playing. Let's go over to let's talk about the regional rankings. You know what? This is interesting. Portal. Do we want to kind of put out any other guys that folks might look at in the portal? Now we'll save that for another show. Um,
Yeah,
let's.
I would just say like I think it's just so early right now that let's just sort of
But
wait
there's
and
only one
see.
window now. There's only one window too. That is enough. That's in the Division 1. There's only one window, I think. So.
Yeah, but like some of the portal like so last year I did a tracker and I
Mhm.
and I plan on doing it again this year, but I'm gonna wait to like later in the off season to maybe like January somewhere in there to do it. But the one thing I kind of learned, some of these guys they got to get to May graduation and then go and then put their name in the portal, and that's May. And some of them are going to do it now. You still got teams playing, so there's just a lot to really like digest that it's so early. Some that don't even advertise that they're in the portal, but they just get in there. So yeah, let's just wait just a little bit on that. And I don't want to throw names out there because I'd rather that they declare their intent and then we talk about it.
Look at Chris being the responsible adult here. All right, let's let's look over at the playoff picture. So we are now in the playoff picture, super regions. We've explained that previously, but that's how the playoff teams are determined. Of course, this year new things are there's an expanded field. There are automatic bids. And also, when it comes to HBCUs, the CIAA and SIC, who are once under one umbrella, are now in separate regions. So let's start with Super Region 1. We've got 3 teams that are still technically in the running. You've got VUU, obviously in the CIAA championship game against Johnson C. Smith. I believe these guys are 2-3, if I'm not mistaken, so they're right underneath each other. I guess maybe you think both of them will get a chance to go. But Fayetteville
Yeah.
State, they finished 6-4 after they got to come back win against Winston-Salem State. So
Hmm.
6-4. They are, I believe, currently in 8th. But Chris, that probably isn't very solid. Maybe they need to call Delta State. But let me.
Ooh.
What are your thoughts, Chris?
Well, so looking at this list, right? I mean, you got Kutztown, who's a 1 seed. I mean, they play in the PSAC championship game. If they win that game, they'll be the only undefeated team in the region, so they're going to get the 1 seed. But the 1 seed doesn't have as much of the allure as it has had in the past because it doesn't get a first round bye. You
Mm-hmm.
just get home field advantage through the super regions if you make it that far. So then you got VUU, JCSU, Indiana, who Kutztown plays, Cal, Frostburg, out of the Mountain East, and Frostburg is still at risk if they lose and Charleston wins, who's sitting at 10. Then Charleston will take the auto bid, and that will most likely knock Frostburg out. Assumption at 7 in Fayetteville State, and let's talk a little bit about Assumption because as a 7, they actually lost their game against Bentley, and that actually put Assumption now to get in as an at large because Bentley has the auto bid. So Bentley is not on the page, which means that if Bentley gets in, they're going to get in as an 8 seed. The
Mm-hmm.
question is Assumption strong enough at 7-2 to keep the 7? And that means Fayetteville State gets bumped out.
You would assume.
So you would assume, right? So that's a big question mark there on whether FSU makes it or not. Um, so yeah. Now when I look at this right as it sits right now, Virginia Union playing like an Assumption. I mean, I think that's a really good matchup for VUU. JCSU also would host a game, and they would play Frostburg State as a 6, and that's also a pretty favorable game, I would say. The PSAT teams have been so all over the place. It's kind of hard to say how they'll perform in a particular game. They could be very explosive, and they can also go flat. so it's hard to really know. But I think one of the questions that people are probably going to ask is what happens, because one of these two teams is not going to win on Saturday between VU and JCSU, right?
Right.
Will they make the playoffs? Yes, they will make the playoffs. They only have one loss apiece in Division II. They're going to make it because everybody under them is 2 losses or more. My question will be: will they host a playoff game, the loser of the championship game? Indiana has 2 losses, right? So if Indiana doesn't make it, and potentially Cal doesn't make it, I don't think Frostburg's overall. They have 2 losses. Even if they win, I just don't think they're going to get a home playoff game. I still like their chances to both get a home playoff game, no matter what the outcome is. And I also think that JCSU, if they lose this game, they will have lost to the same opponent twice. And I think it's almost like a 1.5 loss instead of 2 losses in a case like that. When you play the same opponent twice in a year like that. Now, if VU loses, I think that makes it a little bit more interesting. It nullifies the win of JCSU, and they're going to get leapfrog. But I just think that they've done enough to still have earned a home game and not have to travel. And maybe they go to a 4 or something like that. So, I like both of their chances. Fayetteville State, however, we've seen this time and time again. We've always seen as HBCU, they always end up on that last line. That line used to be 6, right? That line used to be like 10 years ago, it was only 6 teams. Somebody end up at the 6 and get bumped out. That was Winston State. Then you get to the 7 line. It was 7 teams. Who gets to the 7 line? Fort Valley State a couple years ago. Get bumped out. Well, I just feel like this year it's Fayetteville State's turn. Fayetteville State right there on the 8 line. And it's likely that 10-game schedule get bumped out. So let's hope. But we'll see.
Yeah, well, there's a team in Super Region 2 that's looking for a game. Or are they really looking for a game? Let's go over to Super Region 2, where our friends at the SIAC are there. Obviously, Albany State. They're undefeated in Division 2 play. So even if they lose this game, they would have 1 Division 2 loss all year. So you assume that they're in. There would be an assumption. Benedict. They lost. They have 1 loss, I guess, as well, right? They have 1 loss as well. So you assume that even with that loss, and again, like you said, I guess it's probably like that 1.5 thing, right? Because they already lost to them once. So they lost to them. The Gulf South is no more. And a little birdie told me Gulf South folks are looking for a new home in some interesting places, but we'll get to that another day.
You dropping some nuggets, man. What's going on?
We'll get to that another day.
Spicy.
We got to give them something to watch after the championship game, right?
Fair enough. Okay.
Those who know tell, and those who don't tell maybe know. Anyway, whatever that guy said on Do the Right Thing. Whatever the mayor said, that's what he's right. All right, so and then we have Kentucky State. Kentucky State also only 1 D2 loss. They do have a loss against Grambling State, but that, as we always know, doesn't count towards this. So they are. So they are part of that experimental agreement. With the between the SIC and Conference Carolinas, and we talked about this. I heard about it at Media Day, and when I heard about it at Media Day, and they're sitting at 6 right now. So when I heard about it at Media Day, I was like, "This is a pretty interesting concept. I like it. This is we'll have to put a pin in that." Well, it's time to pull that pin up because Chris, I don't even know how this happens. I've been trying to find out. I did talk to the SIC commissioner, the Kentucky State commissioner. I have not heard from. I'm sorry, the AD. I have not heard from. So apparently they made this agreement on July 15th. Which, Chris, I got to go back and see when the SIC media day was. But kid, God, I was there.
It's around that time, yeah.
Yeah, and so back in 2023, the SIC, under the guidance of Commissioner Dr. Holloway, came up with an agreement in December 2023 with Conference Carolinas, who was getting ready to get football, and it debuted this year. That the third and fourth place teams would play each other in a game, the championship week, so that they could, position themselves for playoffs. And yeah, and that was back in 2023. Now it was announced at Media Day this year. Now, but I have to guess, and I should have asked when exactly this was told to the ADs, because apparently July. So July 15th was the day before the SIC Media Day. I gotta think they had to know that before then. But again, you don't know, right? You don't know if you're going to be one of the teams that's going to be in this. And from what I've seen of the contract, it also says that this can be superseded by conference mandates, and that there is no financial penalty involved. So,
right.
They are ranked above Delta State, a historic power in the once plentiful, now scarce Gulf South Conference. I said it. They made an agreement, and they ended up, so anyway, they're going to be playing Shorter, who is a much weaker opponent. But for Delta State, they were up. They lost their last two games, including they were up 21-3 on Valdosta State, who we saw this year is not the same Valdosta State. I mean, they're good. They're still a solid program, but they're not the same program. They're not going to be in the playoffs. So
I don't know about that.
Oh, they are? Okay.
I don't know about that. Well, because the only reason why, so technically they still have a chance. Because they beat Delta, because they beat West Alabama, they are now going up against West Florida, and if they win that game, which they're going to be a big underdog in, they will take the Gulf South auto bid. So they're not exactly out of it just yet. I mean, it will be a stunner of an upset, but hey, I mean, they've, West Florida hasn't exactly laid the hammer on teams as they need to. So you never know.
They ranked like number 3 or something not too long ago, or third in the region. I don't know. Yeah, so interesting. Well, either way it goes, Delta State choked, and now they are below Kentucky State, and now now they want to get out here in the media, all in the videos, talking about how Kentucky State is ducking the smoke by not coming to them, not doing a 1,000-mile round trip when they have a game literally handed to them on a platter. Chris, I don't know. To me, this is the reason why you have a conference and you have a strong conference. And unfortunately for Delta State, they don't have really a conference, even though they do.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird because you do have that 11th game already lined up, and you end up like just bailing like that. I mean, that just isn't like just a good practice overall. From what I remember, the contract says that, hey, like, if you have an obligation, you don't have to take the game, right? But from the way I look at it slightly different, though, because you have to also think about the fact that, like, you don't have to travel and you don't have to spend the money. So let's say Delta wants some type of compensation, right? Um, okay, like there's money that Kentucky State didn't spend. Even if they spent it, they don't have to go anywhere. Now the flip side is that yeah, you're playing shorter. One, Kentucky State, you better not lose this game. And number two is it actually weakens their strength of schedule because short is only like 2-8. So I get it. I understand the logic behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I hardly think that these two teams will be playing each other anytime soon. Delta State
Right.
says that they're ducking the smoke, but yet it took them till late in the fourth quarter to get past Fort Valley. So
That
okay, this is
part.
the Delta State that if they don't hit the deep shot constantly, like their offense is not going that hard. I mean, so it's a shame in a way because I mean we always like these games that two really good teams go at each other, but it's kind of like what you also said. Like Kentucky State holds the cards and they played them, and like I said, as long as they don't lose on Saturday, great. And it's not just Delta. It's not just Delta State crying because the South Atlantic Conference, they're also having a fit about it too. There's some folks in the conference that feel like Kentucky State is going to steal a bid from them. And hey, I mean,
Too
in the
bad. So
end,
sad.
yeah, I mean, hey, I mean, it is what it is. If you don't like it, then you need to.
Get better contracts.
No, you need to win the games that you were assigned.
Well,
That's
there's
what that
that.
is.
But also, they been asleep at the wheel. Like, I mean, because the thing about it is, Kentucky State could be in the SIC championship game if not for that 3-point win by Benedict. So, I mean, this has
Yeah.
been a possibility. This has been a possibility for them for at least the last month, where every week
Yep.
that Kentucky State wins, there's more and more of a chance that they wouldn't be available to play. So then what would their excuse be? Oh, you know what I mean? It's like why would you not have a contingency plan at this point? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
So
agree. I totally agree. And I think that yeah, in the end it's a bit of sour grapes. And I agree Fayetteville State and Delta could play this week. That would be an interesting matchup. Um
I
so
don't think Fayetteville wants no parts at Delta State after what happened to them when they played in the playoffs a couple years ago. Though
yeah, I would agree with that. I mean,
they would have to come to Fayetteville for that. I would have to believe, and then maybe
and then I
I
would
don't
do
think
that.
Fayetteville. Yeah, so
And I think that's the thing. Like historically, like CIAA teams, they really don't even try to get the 11th game
mhm.
in a situation like this. So, um, yeah,
Other than
no,
Virginia State and Tuskegee that one year.
yeah, that was fun. But yeah, it is what it is at this point. Delta. I mean, yeah, Delta's in a really precarious position because if we go back to just talk about the super regions for a second, you got North Greenville and USC Pembroke that has to play for the auto bid. North Greenville's already won this game once, so if they win again, then Pembroke gets knocked to 3 losses and two against the same opponent twice. So how much do you penalize them? You also got, like we talked about Valdosta, if they somehow pull off the upset. Then West Florida is going to make it to the playoffs. It's just a matter are they in the 1 seed or are they somewhere else? And they're going to steal a bid. So yeah, that 8th seed is real precarious right now, and even the South Atlantic. I mean, they got some teams that are right on their heels too. So if you're a Super Region two, this is far from over. This week 11 is going to be wild. So
Yeah, yeah. That part. Yeah. So, Chris, which conference has a better? Well, I would think we know the SIC has the better chance of getting 3 teams in. Do you think there will be 3 SIC teams in this year?
yeah, I think so. I do
Mhm.
think so. Unless something goes crazy with the committee, yes, I could
Which
see
I think
that
is
being the
part,
case.
which I think is part of why all this is blowing up too. To be honest with
Yeah.
you, it's football scoop and all these other folks just miraculously are engaged.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Yeah.
three will make it.
I got you. Okay. Well, look, man, this has been a really great conversation. We got to keep it moving. I know we'll talk briefly about the SIC because I know our friends, our colleagues, Sly and Jamie did a great job there as they look forward to Albany State and Benedict. Any chance that Benedict, in your eyes, can shock the world and take down Albany State, who will be at home, who will be hosting this game?
Yeah, I know. I don't see it. Albany's offense is just. I mean, that's like 2 or 3 steps way ahead of what Benedict is. Good grief. They struggled against Savannah State. Was at 2 overtimes. Darius Ocean throws like 3 interceptions. You can't do that. You got to put those teams away. And Benedict has been just sort of treading water here. So against the class of the conference, no, I don't. I don't see it. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Darius, no disrespect, but Darius Ocean, Billy Ocean, the Pacific
Ocean's 11.
Ocean, Albany State by Thoughty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. To see I got Jared Huggins in just in time to talk Virginia Union. Shout out to Carmela Ball, Jamie Walker also in the chat, Blue Jacket for Life. Some of the regulars I see. Calvin Cuppy says Benedict will shock the world this weekend.
Okay. All right.
Say it with your chest then. All right. So let's get to the game that Chris, I know you'll be there. And depending on how this credential situation is, I'll be in there.
What? I got mine. What's going on?
Look, I'll be there some way, somehow. Anyway, Chris, Virginia Union, Johnson C. Smith. This is the game I think that, if we're honest, besides the small contingent of Winston-Salem State fans and Virginia State fans, thought we should get last year, thought we would get last year. This game has suddenly become, I don't want to say a rivalry, but it's become I don't know what you say. It's become a little bit. It's been. They've rough. Johnson C. Smith. They got by Virginia Union at home the other year. It was a bit of home cooking. I'm not gonna lie. It just is what it is. Smith. This year, Virginia Union was able to take care of business. Held Johnson C. Smith 10 points. So there's that. But now they'll meet in a neutral field, and I did the calculations, Chris. Depending on how the traffic is in Charlotte or Richmond, they could leave at the same time and get there almost at the same time. The game is finally, the CIAA has come back to Durham. Yeah, man. Back on right off 85. Durham County Stadium will be the site of the CIAA championship game again. Johnson C. Smith has not seen a CIAA championship game since Lionel Richie and the Commodores were opening up for Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5. It's been that long. Virginia Union, we would say this is maybe potentially a dynasty-defining moment for Virginia Union. A lot of CIAA programs have won twice in a row. 3 in a row is something that has been very rare by my calculations. Obviously, we had Bowie do it in just a couple years ago. Before that, in the early 1990s, we had Hampton do it before they were on their way out to the MEAC at Division I. And then before that, you got to go back into the mid-70s when when William Dick Price, yes, Dick Price was an actual man. He was the coach of Norfolk State University, and they won in 74, 75, and 76. So a little bit of a CIAA history lesson for you there for the free. Why not? Johnson C. Smith, again, looking for their first CIAA title since the year of our Lord, 1969. Michael Jackson just dropped his first single ever, I Want You Back. And finally, Johnson C. Smith has been playing college football for a long time, 123 years now, one championship. What are your thoughts, Chris?
Well, I would just say that these are the two best teams in the conference. I mean, no doubt. I was just running some tallies here. Let me pull out my cheat sheet here. On offense, VU first in the conference, JCSU third in the conference. On defense, defensive yards given up, VU is number one in the conference, JCSU is number two in the conference. In field goals, you need a field goal. These two teams got it. Lucas Smolin and JCSU number one in the conference, and Brady Myers and VU number two in the conference. Third down conversions, JCSU number one in the conference, VU number two in the conference. The two top running backs in the conference, Curtis Allen, we all know that name, but a name that you do need to know watching this game, Bobby T. Smith, number two in the conference in rushing yards per game, and freshman running back. And so Kelvin Durham was up there, quarterback for JCSU is high up there as well. I mean, it's gonna be an awesome game. I don't think there are gonna be a lot of points scored in this game though. These two teams seem to like to slug it out, and they did the first time around this year. Didn't expect it again this time. I think it's just going to be a lot of running and occasional passing. So yeah, I think one thing to really look out for in this game is how does JCSU O-line fare in this game, because they had a hard time holding back VUU on defense, and they really harassed Kelvin Durham. And so to the extent that the O-line can pick up and provide some protection, it's going to really help, because JCSU has some really good wideouts. The Brian Lane, Biggie Proctor, like those guys. Those guys can easily go for 100 yards receiving in any game. They're that good. So Durham's going to need time to get the ball to him, and that O-line's really got to hold up. VU harassed the leading passer in the CIAA and RJ Matthews against VSU last week. So yeah, I mean that's one of the big keys to the game in this one to me. And if you're JCSU, you need to keep the ball away from VU's offense. I already saw somebody already said it. Like, if you're JCSU defense, like, do you stack like 8 in the box and dare RJ Rosales to pass the ball? Because I mean, that's kind of been, kind of a question. Can they consistently pass the ball? They seem to like more of the deep shots. And Rosales is a runner as well. So that's a big question. I feel like that's what VSU tried to do. They tried to throw a bunch of guys in the box to slow down Curtis Allen, and his first rush of the game was like 23 yards. So, if you're not careful, Curtis Allen did rush for, I think, like 150 yards in their first matchup. He's rushed for over 100 yards in every game he's played in this year. So if you get him under 100 and VUU can't throw the ball, you got to like your chances. So, it's going to be a real interesting challenge with both of these teams. Some real questions going into this game, but it's going to be a fun chess match.
Yeah, I think when I look at Virginia Union, I think about two games. And they only lost the one, but the game that they did, they got burned on the pass a couple times. Edward Waters and Winston-Salem State. So I think if Johnson C. Smith can protect Durham, then I think Virginia Union's DBs are in trouble. And also, I think he's going to be. I think Durham is going to be the key.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that Virginia Union is the better team. They're the most experienced team. But I don't know. I like giving Johnson C. Smith a hard time, and I'm damn sure not rooting for him. But I don't know, man. Because give us something. But no, I think I don't know, man. I feel like maybe they're a team of destiny. I don't know, because I don't know, man. I just remember when Waleed said he was going to do Johnson C. Smith football, and I'm like, I'm laughing. I'm laughing, But I'm like, okay, cool. So the first year, they do all right, and then next year, they did all right, and then this year they've taken a step forward and they've won those games at the end. I'm not going for anybody, but Johnson C. Smith people are right in the backyard, so I really don't. I know they're already bragging enough. Either way, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna come down to the wire. It's a toss up.
You got to pick somebody, Steve.
Can both teams
You got to pick
lose?
somebody to win. No. So they're going to share the championship. Somebody's got to win in that scenario, I guess you would win the auto bid.
I think Virginia Union is the better team. I think they win. I think they win by 7.
Yeah. I already picked this game, and I'm going to stick with that pick. This is a bit of a prove it to me game for JCSU. It's I like what Coach Flowers has done, and they have a lot of. They're very capable on both sides of the ball. But if you want to win, you're going to have to go right through the team that is giving everybody else fits in the CIAA and VUU, and you're going to have to do one thing, and that is stop Curtis Allen. That's what you're going to have to do in this game.
CIAA championship games can get weird though, Chris. Man, like if we look back, if we just roll back, I mean, obviously, that 2013 game that didn't happen. Well, you hope you don't have that happen.
No, I don't think so. I don't think this will happen here.
But then, the next year, Winston-Salem State came in and they just looked like they were just going to be gangbusters, and they were scoring like 40 points a game, and Virginia State's main quarterback can't play, and they got a first-time guy who's never taken a snap, and they just win the game.
Yeah.
Then you got Bowie looking like they're in the mid 2010s, looking like they're going to be that team again, and then 2 years in a row, they just, man, please. If you don't get out of here with that mess, Kobe, those guys were gone. Yeah, of course, when Winston's good, it's their D-line. Anyway, all of that to say, Bowie State 2 years in a row came in looking like they were going to win the championship and didn't. It's been kind of tame since then. Things have kind of played to. They've kind of played to where we've been. I don't know. Maybe we're due for a fantastic finish.
No. You had one game that was really interesting that you've confused.
Oh yeah, the Chowan game.
The Chowan game.
Oh yes.
That was an excellent game.
When we sent them out together, That was the one time I was rooting for Fayetteville State. That was the one time I could say I was rooting for Fayetteville State. They handled the business. The Shelter Ponies handled their business. All right, guys. Well, look, it's been fun. It's been real. And at points, it's been real fun. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Came into you guys a little bit late, but we did our full hour, and I think it was pretty good. Make sure you guys share the podcast. Make sure you like it. Make sure you chop it up and give it to children. with their vegetables. Make them grow up big and strong and loving D2 HBCU football. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week. And next week we'll have championship games and playoffs to talk about.
Playoffs.